6 months ago, I said the storm was coming. Today, after this disastrous season, I want to tell you that the good times are coming. This is Ruben Amorim after the last game against Aston Villa, where we beat them by 2-0. This particular quote can either be a meme or a troll material for rival fans, or it could be something great for Man United fans. I don't know where it is going to go, but be ready to see pictures of Ruben Amorim in the quote. You remember what Ten Hag said, that eras do come to an end. How that particular quote trended. We are going to see if the good times are going to come, or we are going to be another troll material for rival fans. Welcome to United and Everything Football Podcast. My name is Kwame. I'm here with Kwame Nchubu, and we get him once every year, so we make good use of it. Senior Godfred has joined us again. He joined us at the start of the season to preview the transfers. We spoke at length about a lot of things. If you follow him on X, you know exactly where he's been going lately. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much. The two Kwames. It's good to be back.
Great to have you on the podcast. You know what to do. Remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. When we lost, I told Kwame that we're going to get a certain number of views, and true to it, that was the number we got. We got just 800 people coming. But prior to that, we had about 2,000 people watching the Nathan Kwao and then Akomia show. But as we lost,
the
preview, we should get out of here.
Everyone went to hide in their hole somewhere.
But the 800 of you who showed up, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We know you are diehard. You really enjoy the podcast. Thank you very much for coming back, because we know it's not easy. I mean, if not for my podcast, I'm not sure I'd watch anything United related. But for those of you who are able to still master the courage to still watch analysis on anything United, we'll say a big thank you to you. All right, so remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and everything, right? I won't say much. Let me make a quick turn. When I come back, I get my guys in here. We get straight into action. We'll be doing some deep dive into what happened in the season, because Kwame and I want to take some 2 weeks break because we've been tired. We deserve it. Yes.
Yeah. It's been a long season, hasn't it?
After this episode, we'll take some 2 weeks break so that we cool off, right? You agree, right? You all agree. We need it. It's not been easy. I mean, sitting through defeat to talk. This suffering. Anyway, we'll be right back.
There's been a lot of them.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome back to United and Everything Football Podcast. We've been suffering, but Senior has been suffering. He did suffer past week. Today, what? Godfred, I don't know how you would describe this. How would you describe the season? Did you really see this coming?
No, not to this point. I was expecting a bit of a disappointing season, but not to this low point. And for me, I've been through phases this season. You know, the optimistic phase, then the disappointed phase, then the I don't care phase,
the acceptance phase.
Then acceptance. I've been through 5 phases. Acceptance phase, and then finally the defensive phase, which is why you've seen me on the attack on X the past 1 week or so, where I've decided
this is beyond stages of grief.
It is time to come out and fight for my badge. So I'm fighting for my badge, but I think all in all, it's been a wholly disappointing season.
Really?
Everybody knows this. We don't even have to repeat it. Worst performance of the United team in the Premier League since all of us were born.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully it's the last. I don't think we want to see another one. We want to go through another season. It's been almost 10 years of going through this for
12.
us. What's this low?
I think it should be 12 now.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm just even putting, because I don't count the Moyes years. I just want to look at it from there, but it's been really difficult for us, and we need to be able to get back on track.
I don't know. Kwame, maybe today, Kwame and I were in our private chat saying that this United team will do in but to wait, those who don't know in let me do direct translation. Looking face and beat Aston Villa today. Anyway, regardless of what result, it wasn't going to count because Chelsea had done their job because we wanted to find someone to laugh at. We wanted Chelsea to miss out on Champions League, but they did their own job.
You wanted to.
Yeah.
I've been
I
warning you
wanted
for
them to
days.
miss out too. I was hate watching.
Because it's but you see, all agenda fall flat. All agenda fall flat.
Yeah.
It's one of those seasons. But you watch that game and I don't know. Kwame said he's not taking any. He told me, but he's not taking anything away from this game. But generally,
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Cool. Well, absolutely nothing from it. You let me get to Godfred.
No, nothing.
Godfred watched the game. You didn't watch. You were hate watching Chelsea. Let me get to Godfred. Godfred.
I was hate watching Chelsea and watching United at the same time.
But what did you make of the game generally?
Well, although it didn't mean much, I think that the players wanted to leave with some pride. I think that Amorim put a team on the park that he felt would put pride first and at least give the fans who had shown up, and they did show up, because the fans could also have decided to stay away, although they had paid for the tickets. But it was a full house today. In a woeful season, it was a full house. And so Amorim put out a team that at least would show some fight. And I think the team did show some fight, albeit with that one moment of madness from Bayin there, which has marred what would have been United's best performance as a team in about 3 or 4 months. So overall, I do think that the game was worth the performance, showed elements of what Amorim wants to do and has struggled to do. And then I was asking myself whilst watching the game, so if these players understood these principles so well, and they did exhibit, was it pressure that led to some of the things that we have watched all season? Because frankly speaking, if they had even displayed this level of understanding of the principles, and it wasn't just the performance, it was the understanding of the principles that Amorim has been preaching. If you looked at the individual performances, if you looked at Aiden Heaven coming in on the left side and his ability to play on the ball, if you looked at the right side, you looked at even some of the tactical switches that were made to the formation. Ahmad going out wide, having a strong runner out there, having 2 number 10s. So we saw Mason Mount show a certain, for the period that he was on the park, he looked decent. Although Wednesday he was rubbish, he looked decent. And so I asked myself, if you understand the principles so much, why the struggle? But then it gives me a little bit of hope that, okay, if they have grasped the principles, maybe a bit of time in preseason where they can fine-tune this with the few materials that I know we will get. We won't get a lot. We'll get at least 3 or 4 coming in, will perhaps help to refine this process and give us hope. Because once the principles are implemented effectively, we saw a team that was creating chances, although the finishing was woeful, but it looked decent. So in the end, I take the pride that Amorim was willing to put on display for us to end the season, and I'll be happy with that. If we had lost, it would have been utter dejection. Imagine the people who showed up. It would mean that this is a team that is bereft of fight. This is a team that doesn't respect the badge, although they have again displayed that. But moments do matter. And an end to the season performance like that at least showed one thing, that a paying fan who shows up at the stadium in a moment of dejection will respect that at least this team came to fight. Well,
this team came to fight. Kwame, after that, there was the lap of honor, the speech. I will get you on the speech. What did the speech do to you when you watched Amorim pick up the microphone and speak to not just the fans in the stadium, but the global Man United fans, including yourself, myself, Godfred, and every other person watching?
He has his way with words, doesn't he, Ruben?
He got you.
He has his way with words.
He got you.
Listen. Let me be honest. I heard a man who means what he says. A lot of people have know my opinion on his tenure so far. It's not been good. But whatever he said meant something to me.
Mm,
It meant quite a lot to me because, see, especially the part he talks about the fact that we can't dwell on the past and we have to look forward. We can't be fighting each other. We have to rather fight, right? Move forward,
yeah.
hope that everything gets better. I'm a United fan. I love my club. I want my club to do well. I don't want to be going through this phase of pain,
Mhm,
arguing with people, fighting with people
mm,
about my own football club because of certain things or certain people.
mm,
You would want everything to finally come together at a point so that we can all move in the same direction
mm,
towards success. I want to believe every word that he said.
mm,
I truly do, from the bottom of my heart. I really want to believe everything that he said. That there is a plan. There are things that are going on in the background that we do not know, some of which I've already spoken about. I did speak to you about the whole Carrington thing, the whole changes, everything that's happening,
yeah.
and the fact that that could affect a manager's job. Ineos, the coach, the players, whoever that is left, because there are a lot of people who are going to leave,
Mm,
have to be aggressive in trying to rectify what has been a shameful season. It's been embarrassing for everybody involved with this football club,
yeah.
including the fans. It cannot happen again. I don't know which measures, how far they would want to go to fix this eminently,
Mm,
but they should be aggressive about every single action that they want to take in
mm,
trying to rectify this problem. From Ineos and then the recruitment, because like I told you, I don't refer to as signing players for a manager.
mm,
When we spoke about this whole football structure coming in about a year ago,
mm,
it had to be different from what existed before. And the difference had to be the fact that we should have a project, a game model, something that the club wants to adhere to. Sign a manager who fits that, and then sign players who fits that. Manchester United should sign good footballers. Let go of bad footballers. Good footballers can play in any system, can play under any manager.
mhm,
So that should be the focus right now. Getting rid of bad footballers, bringing in very good footballers. Hopefully, preseason starts well, and like Godfred was saying just moments ago, that we begin to see the principles better. We begin to see the execution of what Amorim wants to bring to Manchester United right from preseason. And when the season kicks off, what you want to see is a quick start. No more excuses. We shouldn't go like that's he's had enough time. 7 months, he's had a head start. People don't usually get this period of time, perform this badly, and still remain in the job. He should make the absolute most of the fact that he's seen it all at the football club now. Start next season quickly and then we move
yeah.
from there.
Godfred, over the building up to the Villa game, Amorim spoke a lot and he made mention of the importance of being in the job from November till now, and the kind of impression it's had on him and how it is going to influence certain things he will be doing going into next season. I want to bring it to the point of some of the news that has come out, like players like Alejandro Garnacho being asked to look for a club. Andrew Onana's name has also popped up. Today, three players have been announced that it's been announced that three players are leaving. Victor Lindelof,
Johnny
Johnny
Evans
and
and
then
Eric.
Ericsson, all of these players. I mean, what does this fill you with? How is it making you feel as a fan? I mean, going into this transfer window.
Well, at the moment, nothing because we haven't seen much with the transfers, and I completely agree with Kwame. It's about bringing in players we will be satisfied when we see players who come in not just for the principles, but players who are good for the program. And that means players who can play in a myriad of ways.
Mm,
Okay, so they can play a 3-back, they can play a 4-back, they can play a 3-5-1, whatever the coach wants to do,
mm,
you must be adaptable. A modern player is supposed to be adaptable. In fact, if you go to the basics of an academy trained player, before you are 15 years old, you would have played basically every position there is on the park in your department of the park. So a midfielder would have played a 6, an 8, a 10, a 7, 11. Sometimes they even play the 4 and the 5. You understand? So I am not a big fan of, because we've seen the principles, we have to buy principle-specific players. We must buy good players who understand that at any moment in time, I can be asked to do this and be able to do it competently. That is the most important thing. I think that is what we have lacked. Access to players who are able to do simple things competently. And I'm not a big fan of big names. I'm a big fan of competent recruiting. And I think most of the time, what United has missed over the past decade is competent recruitment and competent use of players that are available. So we've ended up throwing away money at players that we could have found cheaper alternates for, who would have been equally as effective, if not more. And so I look at the time ahead of us now with these announcements and I ask myself, okay, who are those coming in? And here's the thing, I expect a lot more to leave. Why? Because next season is just the league and cups. He will not have a big squad, because knowing Amorim, and if you follow his track record at Sporting, his lineups don't change if everybody is fit. He's the kind of coach whom, if his players stay fit, can go 15, 20 games and his lineup has not changed, including the substitutes that are coming. You can predict, you know, that if this one gets hurt, this one is coming. This one gets hurt, this one is coming. And I think in the end, next season, he will look at working with max 20 players. Now, these 20 players must be players who understand him, but who also must be able to understand a new manager if a new manager comes in. And that is where I think the big job is for the people who are doing the recruitment this season. If you recruit for Amorim, just Amorim and his system and or principles, you leave the team short-handed in case it doesn't work. Because then what happens? A new coach comes in and he has a set of players who can only play in a certain way. That means we are stuck again. So it's a fine line that they are treading in this off-season. And I think it is going to be the most important. We've said this almost every season, but let me repeat. This is going to be one of the most important transfer windows Manchester United is going to undertake. Why? Because they cannot afford a season like they just had. 2, because of the players who have been let go and the emotions that are attached to some of them, we need to be able to bring in players who immediately come in and deliver. Kwame is right. Nobody from day one. Look, United fans are going to be the kind of fans who, when the team actually starts preseason with its Australia or Norway or traditional Sweden trip, are looking for 3-0 wins, 4-0 wins, and the performance. They are no longer going to be the kind of fans who will tell you, oh, we'll wait for the season to start. No. They are looking for performances and results from that game against that Scandinavian team when we play our first preseason game of the season.
I'll be there.
Oh, yes. It doesn't leave Amorim too much time to work with. It's going to be, I think the team might actually get a very short break, and they don't deserve a long break.
True.
100%.
This team does not deserve a long break. They're going to get a very short break. The new players who are going to be signed, I think, will be signed very quickly. I, for one, although there have been a lot of rumors and whispers, I, for one, think that by next week, we will have a very clear picture of who's coming. I don't think they will let this drag. By the time they are done with this Malaysia, something that they are going to do, it will be very clear on the 4 or 5 players who are coming in. We all have ideas about who can come in, but we'll wait and see who they are bringing.
Well, Kwame, there's this sentimental Garnacho is leaving, Menu has to go, and it's I want to pick your quick thoughts on it before I get to Godfred on that, because I know he has a lot on his chest with regards to that. What do you make of it?
We are beyond sentiment at this point, aren't we? Like, let's be honest.
But there are people fighting for Garnacho.
Listen, let me tell you
What's the guy's name on Athletic? Adam Crafton. And the like.
Let me tell you that I was about to say something that I
It's
should
okay.
not say
I
on the
know.
pod. So you should not have brought his name up.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Listen, with respect to attachments to players, it's normal. You have groups of fans of different ages, and you get what I'm say. There are young fans who relate to Manchester United because of certain players. in our local setting, we say people don't go to the stadium to watch Hearts and Kotoko because who are you going to watch? There are some young fans who go to the stadium and relate to Alejandro Garnacho.
Yeah.
Right? There are also some fans who have this principle of homegrown players are players that they would always attach themselves to no matter what.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. We have been so bad, so poor, that you should be willing to relinquish anything and anyone at this point if you want to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get my point? So there was no room, there shouldn't be any room for sentiment. And with respect to these players specifically, Alejandro Garnacho, I don't know how many times I should come on this spot to say we should absolutely 100,000% get rid of him. We have seen players. We have seen players. There are players and then there are players. Alejandro Garnacho can't lace the boots of many a player who have left this football club.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even in this era, even in this current squad, look at what Rashford has done compared to Alejandro Garnacho. Yet, after almost a decade of playing first team football, everybody is of the general consensus that Marcus Rashford should leave the football club. I agree. Garnacho hasn't done 20% of what Rashford has done. What's the need for that? Any attachment?
Mm-hmm.
And fans should also recognize the reality of the situation we find ourselves. We are fucked. Godfred, excuse my French. We are absolutely fucked.
I speak French.
Oh, you do? We are so doomed. The Champions League that we missed out on, we are so doomed. And even before this season, we're in trouble with the whole PSL stuff. We have been performing some gymnastics to get around it. We have been selling homegrown players for like the past 3-4 years to get around it. Yet, it's still not enough because the team itself is not performing. We're not getting extra revenue from anywhere else. And we didn't qualify for the Champions League this season. At this point in time, everybody knows what full profit is. Everybody knows it.
Yes.
Other clubs have been doing this without sentiment.
Mm.
How do you think Cole Palmer ended up at Chelsea?
Mm.
You think City didn't know he was a good player?
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea have been selling homegrown players since the beginning of time just to circumvent these rules. And when it gets to us, they're talking about sentiments. It's about time we accept the reality of it. The way we are going to get around this window is to start sacrificing some of these homegrown players. Alejandro Garnacho would fetch us probably minimum 50 million euros, between 40 to 60 million pounds. If you do sell Rashford alongside, you are in the money. That almost guarantees you about 3-4 signings, quality signings, when you consider what amortization can do for you. So we have to start thinking about the future of this football club and not thinking about individuals.
Godfred, your thoughts?
No, I don't even want to add to what Kwame has said. He said everything. Okay. I do not get the attachment to some of these players because and I blame us, the fans, and I also blame the media that covers Manchester United. I think that the media that covers Manchester United have been very dishonest this season.
I want to add, would you add the third group? There's a third group you are missing.
Yes, they're Twitter tacticals, but they have been found out. The Twitter tacticals have been found out, so I don't even like to deal with them. But I think as a fan base, we need, and I feel sad to say this, we need to develop the Chelsea mentality when it comes to these academy players. And Kwame is absolutely right. We have seen players. Today, I was reading, was it somebody, one of these high, profile journals, basically say that Menu is a mix of Xavi, Iniesta, Riquelme, Pirlo. And I'm like, which Kobe Menu is this guy watching? We watched Kobe Menu for 45 minutes today. He had zero impact on the game. Is that what elite talent does? Elite talent, look, is he telling us that if the game as it was, if Manchester United had Lamine Yamal and put him on for 45 minutes, we will not see?
We would have seen.
The difference between elite talent. So if you have a good talent that shows up and you feel that it's a good talent to sell the player. We don't need to be sentimental about these things. Garnacho, Menu, Toby Collier, Tyler Fredrickson, sell them all. Tyler Fredrickson, people forget, Tyler Fredrickson has been on loan twice and been sent back. Why did that happen? If you had such quality, why aren't the Premier League teams knocking on our doors and saying we want Tyler Fredrickson? A lot of people say, oh, build around Kobe Mainoo. How many people forget? Even though we were 17th and we are struggling, we will always build a team that is looking at competing with City, Liverpool, Spurs, and the rest. The big five or the big six these days, Newcastle. Those are the ones that we are always building a team to compete against. How am I competing to fight against those guys when I know that the person you expect me to build around won't even sit on the bench of half of those teams? That's starting from a position of loss. So we'll follow the sentiment, build around Kobe Mainoo, meet Newcastle United, and get run over by Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and Joel Linton. And fans will end up saying, oh, but Kobe Mainoo had a good game. What is the solace in that? When I could sell Kobe Mainoo for a 40 or 50 million and bring in reasonably adequate, reasonably efficient players who can give me a fighting chance against these teams. So I'm all for getting rid of these players. I want to see more of them gone. But again, I want to see the caliber of players that they bring in. And
that's always the problem, isn't it?
Yes. And for me, I think this is where we will see the worth of the football infrastructure that Ineos has brought in. All the cuts that have been made, all the appointments that have been made that we're shouting about, this is the summer that we must see. That you have your scouting network on point, you have your negotiating
data.
Yes. You have your negotiating hats on point, everything, so that you are able. Amorim must have certainty about who he's going to work with before he returns from Ibiza or wherever it is that he will go for the next 2 weeks with his wife and children. He must have certainty. And I'm sure by now, knowing Amorim and what we have been in, the list has already been presented to be discussed.
I mean, from what Austin reported the other time, I think yesterday, it looks like certain people have been told certain things in a meeting that happened.
Yes. Oh, yes. But we are more interested in those who are coming. And for me, that is where my interest lies. I sit down at the moment, and if you ask me who should come, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. We have the left back coming in from Paraguay, Leon. Was it Pedro Leon?
Diego Leon.
Diego Leon. I don't know what he's capable of. When he comes, we will see. Okay, but at least we know that we've signed somebody to come and give Dogu a run for his money on the left-hand side. Who else is coming?
Liam Delap.
Cunha reported Delap.
Yeah, I see. Those are signings that you can make. Depends on how they settle and how you utilize them. A lot of people are against the Delap signing. I'm not. Okay. Why? He's a wrecking ball. I like wrecking balls. He can be effective from the bench, depending on how you decide to use him.
That's the problem. So now who starts? I think that's what we need, don't we?
Yeah. Let them fight it out. At the training grounds. United went through a phase where we had 4 of the top strikers in European football sharing minutes. Sharing minutes. The 4 of the top European strikers were sharing minutes at Manchester United. This one, we go to tell we know that okay, when Andy Cole and Dwight York played this week, the following week is Solskjaer and Sheringham.
Same level. Almost.
We need to get to the point where we're able to make those exchanges. Again, for me, it's not about an Osimhen or whatever. Bring in somebody who is good for the project, not for the short term, for the project.
Kwame and Godfred, I would end with this 2 minutes each. Since we are talking about signings and other things, let's rank or let's rate Ineos's transfer from summer to the January transfer window. Kwame, I'll start with you. How would you rate that?
I told you, the jury is still up in the air, really, on each and every single one of them. It's because, see, the team is poor, the team has been poor, so it's very difficult to judge individuals, like their signings. I mean, there are some players that have already ruled a mark on them. But then their signings is quite difficult to judge because, look, we are talking about Ugarte not playing today. Ugarte, somebody who played in your system at Sporting, somebody that you should know very well, can't even get into your starting 11. How do you even judge him?
I think next season, Ugarte will play.
I'm getting to that. It's more like things have to come together
Pause a
for
bit
us to be able to see.
For us to have a very good analysis of how the signings are going to
individual. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. if things come together, we'll be able to judge these players better. One thing I would add, in terms of the kind of players that we sign, we speak about the qualities of these players, but one underlying quality that should cut across every single one of them is the physicality. The physical flow of this team is in the mud. It's terrible, especially in forward areas and in midfield. You know my favorite midfield in the league, and Godfred mentioned it.
Yes, the Newcastle midfield.
Newcastle's midfield. That's my dream midfield. When I think about a midfield, a Premier League midfield, that's what I know of a Premier League midfield to be. You should be physical, you should be quick, you should be strong, you should be aggressive, you should be winning all the battles.
Yeah.
In offense, we don't have any power, we don't have any pace, we don't have any ball carriers, nothing. If Bruno is not playing in the front three and creating, there's nothing there. This is the absolute quality that we cannot look over when it comes to any individual signing.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's just getting specialists, people who know how to put the ball in the back of the net, people who are very good at what we think they are good at, and then they just bring an instant impact to the team. Just be aggressive. Like United should be aggressive in the market. Amorim should be aggressive in getting the team working. Start next season, we start aggressive in trying to get results, and we just move on from there. Ineos, right? Everybody at the club should be like, we are so hurt right now that we are going to react to everything that's happened violently. Like violently. That's what we should expect. Like Godfred said, the tour ends next week. Next thing you know, we've signed 3 players before the start of preseason. Right in the middle of preseason, we are done with our signings. Amorim just gets to work. 3-0, 3-0, good performances. Start the season with 4 wins and 5 in the league. And come on, we are back. United is back. Right? That's simple, right?
but Godfred, so in 2 minutes, I think I have about just 3 minutes to go. So in 2 minutes,
football can change quickly. Football can change. We can be bad now, and then in the twinkle of an eye, we are back.
on the signings, I mean, generally, what would you say?
Generally, I think they haven't done too well with the signings, but I think this is some of redemption. And I concur with Kwame's position that some of them we haven't really seen too much of. But look, Nusa Mazraoui, we can't say he's been a poor signing. I think the leg had his up and downs, but the leg was largely positive. I think Lenny Yoro looks like a player ready-made to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And that is why, I get upset with those who say, as if we haven't seen talent. Lenny Yoro, nobody will tell you, nobody has to sugarcoat the fact that Lenny Yoro is a supreme talent. You can see when he's on the pitch. His tangibles, his intangibles, everything is there. So I think a couple of them have looked decent. This is another opportunity to do it. For me, the one position they cannot get wrong, is the goalkeeping position. And it will be a statement for me if there is no change in the goalkeeping position. I will be utterly shocked if there isn't a change in the goalkeeping position. The striking position, again, like Kwame said, it's a specialist position we need to see. But I think a large part of our weakness has so come from our goalkeeping department, where there has been no authority, there has been no organization. The lack of authority from that side of the park spreads to the middle of the park. You see, because Onana has proven to be very shaky. What defenses and midfields don't like is a goalkeeper that they don't trust. So every time they are very, very inconsistent, every time they are indecisive. We need to get somebody who's decisive, which is why I, for one, have been saying, look, take all the money we can, if possible, and ask Oblak a couple of questions. He's 32 years old. That is baby years in goalkeeping age. Ask Oblak, are you not interested in a new project somewhere? It's not about the shiny new goalkeeper at Espanyol that everybody wants, Joan Garcia. No, there are too many intangibles with him. You need somebody who comes in and gives you immediate assurance. Oblak comes
like a Van der Sar.
Everybody in that dressing room, everybody at the back of that line knows this is top 3 goalkeeper in the world. When he talks, he talk back. And he doesn't take unnecessary risk. His basics are fantastic. So for me, those are the kind of signings that you make, and then you are like, yeah, United is back. It's not be about, a big splash for some fancy goalkeeper somewhere. No. Those are the ones we want to see.
Well, guys, It's been an amazing episode with you. I really enjoy it. Anytime I have the both of you, it's always fun filled. I mean, in terms of the depth of analysis that you bring to us here on the podcast. Thank you so much. Like I said, we are going for a break for 2 weeks. Our editor needs to rest. Our graphic designer needs to rest. If our editor, he's not a United fan, no, but he's become a United fan because of editing.
He's invested.
And now, when he's editing, he's insulting. And he's this and everything. Roxon, thank you so much.
He's not even a football fan, but he knows all about football now.
He's not even a football fan. But now see, he's checking scores, he's checking results. He wants to gauge the mood, to know what to add and what spice to take out and everything. Charlie United really stressed that. So we need a break. So we'll take a 2-week break. So in the second week of June, we'll be back with the podcast. And give you a lot more by that time.
And for those who are wondering why I'm not on Twitter, I'm not coming back to Twitter anytime soon. And it's not just because of United. I've got some personal stuff going on. You know about it, Kwame.
Yes.
I'll be back when I'll be back.
Kwame will be back. Thank you very much. My time is up. Thank you so much, Godfred, for being on the podcast. We'll see you some other time. Thank you very much, Kwame. Have a great time. We'll see you after the break here on United and everything.